propaganda, information, and communication. And so we are there to educate the Liberian people, and we are there to inform the Liberian people. It is not about us every now and then. Why it is necessary in this dispensation to always hear Minister of Information or the deputy, but bulk of the work that we do is to engage the public, is to send out our releases. So yes, what we do at the Ministry of Information is to coordinate the activities and to inform the Liberian people. And we run 5 different platforms at the Ministry of Information. Those platforms include the Lina that Kwame Weeks run. You have the Thursday press briefing that we invite every government ministry and sector to come and explain government policy, because when they explain the government policy, it becomes very important that the people understand from them. So we also created a platform so that people will come there. Instead of you listening to the Minister of Information as a third party or a single party, you will be hearing from the first party to speak on the issue. And then aside that, we also run the new library. The new library is a library paper that we also run every day. It comes up 3 times a week, where we propagate and we inform the Liberian people. Again, in our society, not many people read newspaper. Not many people read newspaper, so they don't understand. Those who don't read the newspaper don't understand what we do when it comes to the information dissemination with the new Liberia. And then we have the Friday Mega Hour that we also run on every Friday here. And so that information is to allow what happened, what transpired during the week, and then apart from to elevate the Thursday press briefing and the rest of the information that might have been left out.
Okay,
aside that, His Excellency also, considering the dispensation that we find ourselves in, also appointed an acting assistant minister for national. The new media and national branding, who is responsible for social media. And so we have moved from almost from 30K to 65, and we are going to 100 to 200K with the view, just to elevate our platform on the social media. So we engage the Liberian people, and then many days we get on the outside, engage the people. If you don't see us talking on radio, that does not in any way mean that we are not doing what we ought to do. We go, we engage civil society actors, we engage state actors. In the not too distant future, we are about to launch a campaign that we call Engage the Rural Dwellers.
Okay. Now, Mr. Minister, this is my first official and well-organized interview with you since you assumed...
I've been here before.
This is my second, in fact. Let me just get right. This is my second where we sat in studio, although I've been speaking with you on the lines on a couple of times. But there's this concern, Mr. Minister, that your position, many of your predecessors were people who were known to be firing every time they were on the air, on the radio, firing and very aggressively. Unlike you, what's responsible?
And so I always told the Liberian people that position, if you read the act that established the Ministry of Information and Cultural Affairs and Tourism, it does not call for, everybody, one way or the other, has his or her style of leadership.
Okay.
And that act, there is nothing in that act that I have read repeatedly. There is nothing in that act to say that if someone judge is an opposition and he's talking against the government aggressively, that my position should go and attack him to insult him. No. We are there to erect the necessary checkpoint. And so, yes, I come from 4 different backgrounds. Maybe I don't always like to need them, but it is important for people to understand that the Ministry of Information is not a propagandist machinery or institution. The Ministry of Information is an institution established by legislature to inform and propagate the message or messages of the Liberian government.
Okay.
So, coming from my background as a professional and trained public relation officer, that people don't understand that if you think that if you should get on radio and labas or curse or insult, then you become the well-noted government official. No, that is not my upbringing.
Okay.
And so when I took up the job, and the first thing that I said in my capacity was that, look, that job is a professional job. It is there to cut across. You serve as a bridge between the government, the opposition. You serve as a bridge between the government, the legislature. You serve as, and more importantly, you serve as a bridge between the government and the press. The press. So if you are on the attacking side, my friend, you have to think twice.
Okay, so there's a reason why you are not attacking, you are not being aggressive in the performance of your duty.
I will be effective, but I will not be aggressive negatively.
Okay, when you came, when you just entered the studio, the first, in fact, you heard me interviewing the president of the Liberian Marketing Association, concerning the new price for rice. This concern is there, Mr. Minister, that yes, the government did extremely well, taking that sort of making that sort of demonstrable strides in trying to ensure that the product is affordable and available. Now, you being from the Ministry of Information, and making sure that the government's messages is heard across. What have you to say to our people? Because that maybe some individuals, or there are some individuals who think that the price is still high and the appropriate thing has not still been done. What have you to say to the public?
In this country, we have interesting politicians that want to circumvent every situation. And I think, and I'm certified that this price, you listen to the LMA president when she said, we are satisfied with the price. So, there was a time in this country, sometime about 3 to 4 weeks or 4 months ago, when the importers were, one way or the other, keeping the products. And the best thing for this government to have done was to set up a committee. The government, and I continue to say this government is a responsible, civilized, and well-organized government. I know that people want to think that His Excellency George Weah is not in the driver's seat, but he is on top of things. So when the situation came about, the first thing he did, look, we have been subsidizing the rice. Rice, when he took office, the first thing he said was that the rice, we took it from $15, brought it down back to $13, and the retail price at $13.50. People need to understand this. But when the global issue started, when the crisis started, and people could not, around the world, started changing their diet. But in Liberia, we could not change our diet. In Senegal, they have changed. They were talking about changing the diet. I know they have changed the diet. In Ivory Coast, where I live for 8 or 9 years, they were talking about also changing the diet. In Ghana, where apartheid surfaced, I know that they were also struggling. So, but for us in Liberia, we are so much more used to our staple food, the rice. So, with all the rigmarole back and forth, we are still keeping the price at $13, and for retail price, $13.50. And so, in the wisdom of the president, when the crisis started and it became so difficult for importers to import rice and make the profit business people are profit maker. And then he set up a committee. The committee advising. And that's what I keep telling people, that President Weah is not a dictator.
So what is the assurance, Mr. Minister?
The assurance is
what is the assurance that with the price of the rice being $17, what is the assurance, you are a spokesperson of the Liberian government, that the rice will now be affordable and available at all times?
The exact and the correct answer to you is that it will and it shall. It will be available. It will be available, affordable on the market.
How are you going to ensure that?
And we have a well-organized team at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and they have put in so many mechanisms, moving here and there on the outskirts of.
Do you care to tell us about some of the mechanisms that they put in?
The mechanisms now that they have the inspectors on a fee. So look, before then, we agreed that importers, look, you were setting the rice. I mean, you were crying foul that the rice, you were setting at the lowest price. But now we agree. This is what you agree for us to do. Give and take, 50-50 in diplomacy, 50-50. And then this 50-50 cannot be overturned at midnight. So for the rice to be available and affordable on the market, you must sell it to the person who is coming to buy from you at $17, and the person who is taking it out there to sell it for $17.50 to have 50 cent profit. So it is a mechanism put in place that nobody, and moving forward, we are encouraging the Liberian people. We are encouraging the Liberian people that if you caught or if you saw anybody selling that price, the rice above the stipulated price of the government, report that person to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and the necessary action will be taken against that person.
Mr. Government Minister, one other concern that the people do have is that we heard that the rice were being taken across the borders, out to Sierra Leone or to Guinea. Are there measures now that are being taken to ensure that is averted?
So I just said, and the good thing is that I was doing a research, and I'm an organizing member of the Congress for West African Journalists Network. And when we organize that network, we have so many of our representatives across West Africa. And I started asking them, because I knew that you would have asked this question. The price of rice in Ghana is not the same price of rice. The Ghanaian price is higher. The Sierra Leone price is higher. The Gambia price is higher. Gambia, I think, is now setting it $25 for the 25 kg. And then in Ivory Coast is now 7,000 CFA. If you do the conversion, you get to know. And then in Nigeria, it's more above what we are setting our price. So across West Africa, we have done the study price of what is obtaining. And when we have our Zoom meeting 3 days ago, I understood from my colleague that Liberia is far more below the belt of the.
Mr. Minister, the question I ask you, the concern is
the concern of
the rights have been taken to.
And that's the question I'm coming to. And that's the question I'm coming to.
What sort of measures have been taken at the borders?
So every institution, every institution will take and will act accordingly. We have the Liberia Institute of the immigration. Let me just put it that way, right? They are there. The immigration will be there.
But they've been there before.
Yeah. So now that a policy statement has been put into place,
okay,
they will act effectively. Okay, so that the rest that is brought in Liberia will not be taken out of Liberia, so that people will not be making profit out of Liberians at the expense of Liberians. So the best thing we can do is that if we import our products, if we import our rice in country, it should remain in Liberia sold to the Liberians.
So nobody going to smuggle rice outside the country.
I can assure you that our border securities will be very vigilant, will be very straightforward to the point of protecting what we import. What we import. So that, I mean, there will be no, because the more we smuggle the rice outside, it becomes a situation that Liberian will become the people who will feel the pinch. So not to feel that pain, the best thing we can do is to ask our security personnel along our borders to protect what we have imported.
Okay, Mr. Minister, you are the government's, one of the senior spokesperson of the government here. You've been hearing, I'm sure, around town concerning, the travel of His Excellency. There are some individuals who think that not much dividend they've heard about. Do you care to tell us about what is coming out of the travel of His Excellency, some of the major dividends?
You know why? I stayed too long in this country as a practicing journalist and also as somebody who participates in politics. And I understand the tactics that people will use to divide the attention of the goodness of, everything in this country. His Excellency travel from this country. And all that politicians, because they want to please their constituents or constituency, so they kept saying that he went to watch football game. But when he was leaving, and at the legislature, the president communication coming from the president is a privilege, and it takes precedence over every other thing, and it can't be questioned. So when he writes the legislature, and some of them are listening to me in opposition, when he writes the legislature, if you have a long agenda and that communication just came 1 minute before even reading the agenda, you must put aside your communication and read the president's communication. The president left, he wrote, and he said he was going to Morocco. From Morocco, he went to Egypt. From Egypt to Qatar. From Qatar to Monaco. From Monaco to now the USA. And the only reason why people are doing this is to divert the attention of the Liberian people from the president's speech or engagement in Washington, D.C. The president's achievement in Morocco, when and your BC have been following, when the issue of the $50 million from the Hungarian government came about. When he went to Egypt, and he has always said this, he has provided and he has stood the ground of Liberia that, look, for climate change, we that have this climate change situation, we are now benefiting and we need to benefit more. He stood the ground, presented the case of Liberia in 6 minutes. Maybe people think that he should be speaking for 1 hour. The more you talk, your talking becomes irrelevant. So the best thing to do is to put your point through. And people thought he went to, he comes from.
So what have you to say to those who think that there's not much dividends coming out of the presidency?
And I can say for me, I know in Montserrat County, you have the quote-unquote people who think that it should be the ruling class. But I'm speaking to my people listening to me in Vonjiman, my people listening to me in Maryland, my people listening to me in Cape Mount, and my people listening to me across the country, that the president did not go outside to only watch football. He has gone outside to represent the country, first from Morocco to Egypt, Qatar, Monaco, and then the USA. So that watch out and see what comes out of the democracy conference. So, I mean, people will always say this. And the good thing about it, again, is that, when you interact with His Excellency, you will get to know that he's always relaxed, and he feels that people should always, and he has said it repeatedly, that people should express. People should express themselves. But the expression does not in any way making it to be who they think he is.
Okay, you're listening to the SMS rated on the OBC 99.9 and also frequencies across Liberia. Our studio guests on the second and final lap of the SMS is the Deputy Minister of Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Minister Jalawa Tompo. Now, Mr. Minister, there's concern, Mr. Minister. There are some individuals who think that the government is doing extremely well, making some demonstrable strides, addressing some of the major issues in the country, and ensuring that the peace is maintained and all of that. But the communication of what the government is doing is not much, getting to the people. And people are not really feeling or hearing more of what the government is doing. Do you think there's a breach there? There's a lack in the government communication machinery?
No, there is no lack in the government communication machinery.
Okay, what is happening there?
As a professional person, and I will always stand my ground on this particular issue. In the first thing, before I leave, let me lay my premise on this. If there was a lack, if the government was not communicating, I know the eagerness, I know the excitement, everybody wants to hear people firing, talking. But if the government was not communicating, if the government was not protecting the information, if the government was not protecting the freedom of speech, the scorecard as was given in the MCC, it wouldn't have come to 88%. From the onset, I told you that the Information Ministry has 5 platforms, excluding the Ministry of Information. And the state radio is also there, helping to articulate, to inform, to propagate what the government is doing. And to some extent that you even bring on board some opposition politician to participate in a democratic society where before then it has never happened before. So those who continue to say that the information arm or the communication arm of the Ministry of Information is not articulate as they think, I disagree. But again, somebody will say, the usual assertion is that he wants to protect his job. I have been a professional journalist, and I will always be a professional journalist. But what we know best that I can boast of the team at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, headed by Julius Rini. I can also boast of the team at the Liberia Broadcasting System, headed by Estelle Liberty Camus. I can boast of the team at the Executive Mansion, headed by R. Solo Kegbe. I want to use my former friend, or he's still my friend. I can boast of.
Why would you say that here?
I can boast.
Well, he's your former friend or is he your friend?
I can boast of all the public relations officers that have been supervised by my office.
You could have all those people in place, Mr. Minister. I'm coming, Mr. Minister. You could have all those people in place that you're making reference to, yet you could be a bit slow in getting out.
That exactly what the opposition think. Because they think that because they were there, or somebody was there in our seat that we sit in today, every morning you take in, I'm sorry to mention, but you take in something.
What is that? Is something?
No, and then you get on radio. You insult people who even brought you to prominence, and that's what people think that we should be doing. Even in the ruling establishment, if people think that we at the Ministry of Information will be attacking, we will not attack. We will look. We are looking for. The government is not only for a ruling party. The government is for the Liberian people. And so if a Liberian person is hurt, there is a way to communicate with that person so the person will understand exactly what is happening. Take for example the issue of the rice. The issue of the rice. I know that people will be, so if somebody was hurt today, why is it that government increased the price of 25 kg to $17 and $17.50, and then you go on radio, you say, look, you must accept it. No, you don't talk to people like that. They are decent Liberians, and Liberian people are decent people. We have to talk to them, and we have to talk to them accordingly, so not to be on the attacking side, to be more aggressive. If we do that, politics is normal.
Okay.
I can assure you that with our posture, in the coming days or in the coming months, when we get out, because the more you talk, your talk become irrelevant. So when we get out, people will listen to us and say, yes, I think you're making sense. Even as we speak, I know some people are feeling the pain of what has happened, but they understood exactly the importance attached to carrying the price of rice from $13 or from before then, or even buying $30. I was with the Ministry of Commerce. At one point in time, we arrested one Lebanese man at Painesville who was selling the rice at $30. $30. And so when we arrested the person, we have to auction the rice. So if the people were in queue, buying the rice at $30 at that particular time, and the price is now being brought down, brought down to $17.50 at the retail price. It's a plus for the government. And the important thing is that we have to give caution to people who are in the business of the rice. I know because myself, look, in 2004, I was in rice business. You have to go get rice.
You were selling it by cup or what?
I was selling it by bags. I was selling it to Kobo sellers.
Oh, to Kobo.
Yes, I was never selling my rice. But I was selling it to Kobo sellers. And once I know you have a Kobo shop, I will make that contact with you. I'll go. And then in 2004, if I get my $1 profit or if I get my 70-cent profit, it was much more better for me. But the point I wanted to make is that people will go at a free port, and they will want to inflate. The truck drivers will want to, before you get your rest out, you pay $1,000. Before you carry it to unload is $20 per bag. To offload is $20 per bag. And so the retailers are thinking about that way. But we are saying as a government, look, retailer, let's say wholesale dealer, sell the rest at the place and put in the mechanism so that the people will buy it at the particular price.
Okay, shortly I'll be opening the lines, Mr. Minister. But let me ask you this question before then. I'm sure you hear in the public, about some. But the thing is that there are young people who this government, I'm sure, is interested in building their future. We got all the major skill training program that the government has initiated for young people to go to school. The government has introduced this whole free education and has a policy on that. As a result, the enrollment has increased. But in the face of that, Mr. Minister, there are some opposition politicians who think that the young people can be used to go out into the streets and causing havoc as a result of what they will call protestation and all of that. What is your reaction to anyone who wanting to create that sort of environment?
I know honor the laws of life, honor our constitution.
Mm-hmm.
It is, allow for people to assemble freely and speak to their government. But speaking to your government comes with responsibility. You should do it, legal authority. You should have that legal authority. So, and to the extent that His Excellency President George Weah is a man of free, is a free man. And so he always encouraged for people to engage in. And the good thing about it is that, people are forgetting to understand that President Weah came to the presidency with a policy document. And in that policy document, it has 4 pillars: power to the people, the economic and jobs, sustaining the peace, and governance and transparency. Right? So you have power to the people. Power to the people, you give the power to the people, and the people are exercising their power. But if you are exercising your power, you should do it with the conscience that other people's rights will not be trampled upon. So I mean,
What's the interpretation of what he's saying?
I'm saying you asking me about our young people. People are engaged. People want to engage in protest. They have the right to protest. But wherein that if you want to protest and the protest is not legal, it's not legitimate, you have to think twice. You have to do things. This is a country of law and not of men. I have been in this country coming up as a young person and growing up as an adult youth. I witnessed what transpired in this country to the extent that I left this country for 8 to 9 good years. I was shedding tears in exile. When I came back, the only war that I witnessed in this country, and I regretted it a lot, was the September 18 and the 2003 up war, the second war, the one we call the World War I and World War II. So we will continue to educate the young people that it is good to assemble, to call your government to act if you think that the government is not acting. But in so doing, there is a law that guarantees the right of me moving freely. So if you ask for a venue, say you want to assemble here to call on the government attention, you should assemble in that place so that I, who is living from Duazon, going all the way to Broadway to look for my daily bread, so that I will be able to pass freely. So the young people of this country, I know many days, sometimes if you see some of them, just watch your Facebook post. Some of them who comment, are young people that you can even born in 1995, 1994, and they say the worst thing about you. But again, you have to understand. So the best thing for us to do is that to discourage them, even though they have the right. But that right cannot inconvenience the rights of other people.
Okay. Mr. Minister, thank you very much. Let me take a few calls quickly. Time is not in our favor. 0776 540 or better still, 0880-514-096. Again, 0776 540 or better still, 0880-514-096. Good morning.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to the Conscious Money Librarian.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Abraham Political Mojosetu, and I call from the headquarters of the Veterans Bureau on the most talk about Avenue this morning. Let me appreciate Minister Jara Tumpu for the information surrounding the governor of Liberia for bringing up to speed, telling the people the good work of the president. Honorable Minister of the government blessing at least the position you have changed the mindset of that position, because people think that the position should be insulting opposition.
You don't have much time, please.
So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. He's already made his point over there. Let me take this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes. Okay.
I've been wishing the honorable minister for no way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for the rare issue. But you don't get in contact with that minister.
I'll give you my number off radio.
All right.
Okay, let me take this caller quickly. Good morning.
Good morning, Sobla, and
Yes.
good morning to the Honorable Minister.
Good morning.
This is Fode Mohammed Kakwe, political Nyai,
What?
the National Secretary General of the Abandoned Sedition to Reject We Are 2023.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I don't know, Sobla, whether it is a crime for one to be part of the government or to be a government official. The last time I checked, Minister Templo was at the Liberian Senate reporting. He was very objective and balanced in a reportage. But this time around, I don't know what Mr. Temple is coming on national radio to justify issue that is worth to be justified.
Such as?
And you will see him giving justification to that our issue.
Such as?
So Mr. Temple justifying the issue of the rice, leaving from $13.50 to $17.50. And he's telling you that it is in the interest of the Liberian people. And I want to ask Mr. Temple, the thing that you're going to put in place to regulate the price, that it should not inflate from $17.50 up to $20. That inspection team will take place. That is work in Montserrado County. But a man who lives from Maryland County, Grand Chile County, coming to Montserrado to purchase 3-4 bags of 100 bags of rice, to take it to their very local, and then you're expecting them to buy it $17 to go and carry it to Maryland, Grand Chile, to sell it $17.50. You think it will really work at that distance?
Okay. I think you made your point already. He heard your question. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning, ma.
Yeah, this is my set. I'm calling for two community members of the Intellectual Alliance of Sapiro.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, let me appreciate your studio girl, the minister in studio, and he spoke well on the West issue. You see, George, there will be fair here, right? It's better for us buying the rest $20 for us to not even see at all. Because Mana Eli Joseph rest was sold for $16.50. And President, we are giving the power to reduce the price of rest to $30.
Exactly.
And now you think the same man that reduce the price of rest, they will out wicked to the Liberian people to increase the price of rest when you won't mind because you want to do so. No, it's better for us to see here to buy $70 than for us to not see at all. So let us applaud the government for that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Many thanks as well. Good morning. Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. George. Good morning, Minister.
Come
How
on.
are you this morning, Mr. Temple?
Good morning.
Okay, this is Mr. Benedict S. Red speaking. I want to hail you this morning for your brilliant explanation. You are quite correct. The government of information have been disseminating information all around. But it looks like because we got some people who are not in favor of the government, they will always come up to say, oh, the government is not propagating well. But I think they always, because I know that the LBS always on the air, them carrying information out, and even the Ministry of Information, every Friday they will come up with Minister Weka and the other guy. So, brother, no matter what you do, people will still criticize you, but just do the right thing.
Okay.
I thank you, and I want you to continue your work.
Many thanks as well. Good morning. Good morning. Hello?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you quickly.
My name is Melvin Dumoya. I call from the post city of Buchanan.
Let's hear from you.
I mean, good morning to your studio guest. I want for you to maybe to understand something. Because we are trying to say the trade route of ECOWAS trade route in terms of stopping rice from going Ivory Coast. So how will he reconcile that? And my second concern is about the president facing that I heard that the money that allocated for the road to go to Minikoma. I want you to clarify for me.
Okay, he's taking note. Good morning. Good morning. Hello?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm on the air.
Oh, okay, fine. This is Solo where I just called to commend the minister and compliment his effort for his deliberation.
From
First,
former friend?
like you know, I don't have former friends. I have friends in good and high esteem, so he still remain my good friend. The two things I want to weigh in on, firstly, is on the issue of the rights.
Mm-hmm.
Like the minister said, the first action the president took when he came to power was to ensure that rice was available and affordable for our people. The government has spent more in terms of subsidizing rice under this administration than any other administration. But because of pandemic and the ongoing crisis, it became necessary for our people to have freshly accommodated market before price. And this is why the president constituted a rice stabilization task force. This task force met with every stake actor when it comes to the issue or their involvement into the rice importation. That is the marketer, the importer, the NPA, the APM terminal, everybody was involved. And it said that the best way out, instead of going to give continuous subsidy, is to increase the price of the rice to $17 for wholesale and retail $17.56. And the subsidy, which of course state government are continuing, will be costing government up to $60 million annually. That money should be used to empower our people so that in the coming years, because it's not overnight, so that in the coming years we'll be able to produce rice. So it's not just about increasing the price of rice, but all the actions to remedy the situation were reached. And these are the messages we try to get to our people. I understand some people will sound harsh because of what they were used to, but the reality of the day calls for that.
Okay.
So they are even asking for those councils that are producing rice to be allotted hectares of acreage of land so that we continue to do farming. So those are the support that the government is giving. It's not just increasing the price, but finding solution, long-term solution is what the government is working on.
Okay.
And another thing the minister said that is the president involvement in the United States. The president is not in the United States for the Democratic Forum. He is there for the U.S. Africa Summit. There are two different conferences. So the U.S. Democratic Forum is slated for March of next year.
Yeah, that was a slight mistake.
Is the U.S. African Leadership Summit.
That was a slight mistake.
Okay. Many thanks, Mr. Press Secretary. Let me leave it at that, and then the minister can respond to some of the
I
concerns.
actually noted that that was a slight mistake, and I would have come back to rectify it. And you were very smart.
We are not taking additional calls, please.
So, look, let me thank all of the colleagues we have called, including mine. I was just kidding when I said Solo Kaba is my former friend. We have been friends for a very long time. I listened to all of the colleagues, and I will agree with them. But it is important for us to say to the Liberian people that no matter the situation, and people who think that we are in a revolution, we are not in a revolution. His Excellency President George M. Weah is running a democratic, responsible, and civilized government. And people who think that every morning you should hear Solo Kaba on the radio shouting at people, hear Legendary Julius Rene shouting at people, or Jalawa Tompo shouting at people, or Solo Kaba or Jara Griffith, who was in the front line at LBS and Rare, shouting at people. No. We will erect the necessary checkpoint. And so, especially so for us at the Ministry of Information and for the rest of our colleagues at the Executive Mansion. Look, the presidency is not for only a ruling party. So you don't expect Solo Kaba or Osumetobe to be, worshiping and dining, and he must. Solo Kaba and Osumetobe are on an obligation to engage the opposition.
Okay.
Likewise us.
Okay.
So for us, we will continue to propagate, we will continue to inform the Liberian people, and those who think that we should be on public radio to be insulting, to be, basting Joseph Boaka, to be insulting Joseph Boaka before they know that we do our job, to be insulting, how do you call him? The other man want to be president. Alexander Kume, to be insulting Tiago Gonglo. No! We will not. We will just tell them the truth, and the truth will be told. But we will not insult them before they start praising us, say we are doing our job.
Mr. Minister, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, and I'll always be ready to come back here and talk about the 4 pillars of this government that George Weah has now filled. When George Weah said, when he took office, and he said he should judge me by my action and not by my speech, he wrote it down, and he wrote policy document. And those policy documents, he outlined 4 pillars. Power to the people, which he has demonstrated, economic and jobs, which is doing, sustaining the peace, which he has demonstrated, and governance and transparency, which is ongoing. So the whole country is open, and to the extent that even when you see somebody who are able to burn, sometimes insult me, I sometimes laugh about it. Because never in a day in our society, that even when some of us were at the University of Liberia, when people said that we should not demonstrate, we should not rally for one of the activists to be free, and they sent state security, they advised former President Taylor to send state security on the campus and beat us. We are still around.
So you were beaten before?
We are still around. But thanks be to Saboli.
How did they beat you?
Thanks be to my friend Saboli, because when he met me on the campus, he just said, just go out. So people who
So you were not beaten?
Saboli rescued me that day.
Okay, I see.
Somebody rescue me now.
Okay, I see you, Mr. Minister.
Thank you so much. So people who
That's
think,
the deputy minister.
who think that they advise and who suffer, who make us to suffer, that we are taking pay every July and every December, July 26th and December 25th, that we suffer a lot in this country, and they will come back to tell us what to do and what not to do. Gone are those days.
Okay. That's the Deputy Minister of Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Jarawa Tompo. Hey, Tompo has been speaking out on the SMS this morning. Thanks to the entire team, Anthony Williams and his teammates have been on camera. My indefatigable, illustrious and hard-working producer, the man Melvin Stewart, has been right by my side. Join us tomorrow, God